Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of Flipping Tables on Black Man Unfiltered. Black Man, where are you coming from, sir? Live on the scene. You're on mute, sir. You're on mute, sir. You're on mute.
Oh, I'm here where my twins graduated today, man, and we're here about to celebrate them. They just got out, and so we're about to take them to a nice dinner and sit here and eat some dinner with them tonight, and and love on them a little bit tonight. And so we're waiting on our table. And so while we're waiting on our table, man, I want to come flip some tables. You know what I'm talking about?
There you go. There you go. Listen, I got everything loaded up, man. What's going on, man?
Man, everything is everything, brother. Everything is everything, man. And how's it been for you, the velvet voice of YouTube yourself? How it been for you, bro?
Man, I've been busy, man. I've been making videos and
I know, I saw it.
I wanted to show everybody the AI baby version of Black Man Unfiltered.
There I come. Yeah, man. But tonight, man, I wanted to the tables here. The table ready, Kobe? Table's ready? Okay, I'm coming. But before we get the show started tonight, guys, I wanted to break this down with Loss, and as soon as I get done with dinner, I'll come back and I'll get into it a little bit more with him. But this video is important tonight because there's a pastor out here who's leading thousands of people, the son-in-law of T.D. Jakes and the husband of T.D. Jakes' daughter, Sarah Jakes. And he's misleading a lot of women at this conference. And I have the right person to break it down. Guys, if you want to join the show, Loss will put the link in the chat for you guys. If you want to join the show and have this conversation as he's going along in this video. I don't think you haven't watched the video yet, have you?
I watched some of it. I have to do my research, man, when I start pulling stuff up.
Yeah, man.
I can do my thing, man. You know what I'm
saying?
So
when y'all watch the video, man, Loss is gonna break this thing down. I'll be watching, but when I get done, I'll hop back on, man. If you guys want to join the show, please click the link in the chat, turn your cameras on so we can see your face, and we'll go from there, man. I appreciate you, Loss, for holding it down for your boy.
That'll work. I'm going to go ahead and put the link in the chat. But in the meantime, I'm going to show everybody what we've been up to before y'all get started, before we get this thing rolling. But before I do that, I'm going to make sure I recognize a few people for coming in early and on time. You know what I'm saying? First of all, welcome. Could tell you for it being in the building on time. Of course, BMU was in here. You know what I'm saying? And who else do we have? We also have the Ghost of Sparta in this bad boy. What's happening, man? And we also have Marriage, Politics, and Sports. Now, I also put the link in the chat, so if you guys are ready to come on up, you can. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and show you what we've been working on. And I have before we get started, because I like to keep things a little lighthearted, I'm going to go ahead and show y'all the version of Baby BMU while we've been creating these AI babies. And I got one for our pain, too. I already showed them earlier, but y'all hadn't seen it yet. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that up.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? What's up? Hopefully y'all can hear me. If you're watching right now, hit the like button, subscribe button. Welcome to another episode of The Barbershop. It is Friday night, and I feel all right.
All right, there we go. And the next person we're going to bring up, y'all know him as Mr. R. Payne in the building.
Come on inside and get yourself something cool to drink.
That's funny. No, man, got a kid in the candy store that do happen.
Yeah, man, you already know it. R. Payne, I know you saw yours, man.
That's funny. I'm glad you didn't have me cursing on it, man.
No, man, it ain't gonna let you put no curse words in there, man.
Oh, that's cool. That's great.
Yeah, man, you know how that go. But I wanted to show everybody that we technically sound over here, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna see if I can find yours, because I know everybody was loving yours, man. It was like, where are Payne at?
Oh man, that was funny. I said, oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah, man, they like that one. Well, here we go. I found it. I'm gonna go ahead and load that one up, so that way they can see it, man. But I thought this was cute, man. I had pulled it from your show the other day.
Yeah,
it would be cool for a little baby. So here you go, our Payne. Everybody, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, Baby Payne.
I know that I can get women or a woman, and I know I can have a girlfriend. But right now, I need peace more than I need anything else.
Give it up for Baby Payne.
Hey, man, Jay Ferguson's gonna get mad at me. He got me light skinned over there.
Oh man, it was on your head, man. The computer thought you was light skinned, man. So I did it. You know what I'm saying? What's going on, man? How you doing today, man?
Oh man, it's just it's cool. It's all graduation, man. My going out with my sister. 2 of my nieces are graduating this year from college, so we're gonna have a party for them next Sunday. Not a party, but a dinner out.
That's what's up.
And then my birthday's later on this month. My daughter's birthday's later on this month, so we have a good time. So it's a good month.
Oh, y'all gonna be getting it up, ain't it?
Yeah.
That's what's up.
That's right, man. Actually, it's next Monday, so it probably won't be on.
Falling on death. Man, let me tell you something, man. I was working on some AI baby pictures, man, and of course, you don't give you so many per day.
Okay.
I had to try to finagle one for myself so I can share. You know what I'm saying?
What did you do? Yeah. Let's see yours.
Listen, so instead of using the method I used to do yours and Black Men and Filters, I had to do it a different way. I used an actual picture of me when I was younger. Yeah, and it came out spot on. It was just like a regular flat picture. And I tell you, man, the AI did a masterful job because it still looks like me. I'm going to go ahead and show it with y'all so y'all can see exactly the capabilities of these things. That's why I tell everybody, make sure you learn this AI stuff, man.
Absolutely.
We're going to be using it in the future, man. Check this out. Tired of feeling like your words are falling on deaf ears? Learn how to master the art of active listening and unlock the secrets building stronger relationships and achieving greater understanding with the Lost in Translation podcast.
That's good, man. That's good.
Yeah, man. I thought that was pretty good.
Oh, man. Yeah, AI, man. I tell my daughters, I said, listen, whatever you're doing, whatever innovations, you got to be on top of that and learn all that stuff about AI. Everything you're doing is AI is going to touch it in some way.
Right.
No
But in the meantime, go ahead, man.
No, I said that's it. They're hearing me.
Right. Listen, in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I was able to find the clip Black Man Filter gave to me. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go ahead and play that. And then, of course, we're going to dig down into the message. But I always like to give people a fair shake, you know what I'm saying, before I get started. And let him explain himself first. So I'm going to go ahead and add him to the stage. And I'm going to go ahead and hit that play button. Okay.
Woman is not synonymous with wife. It's not synonymous with wife. Let me back up a little. He says that it's not good for man to be alone. And then he says, and this is where the confusion comes in. And then he says, I will make a helper comparable to him. Now, I grew up on the old King James. I love the old King James. I learned the old King James. There's nothing like the old King James, in my opinion, because for the memory's sake, it's amazing. The Shakespearean style is beautiful. Now, I'd use the New King James now, but to be honest with you, my learning is in the old King James. I'll be honest with you. But the old King James sometimes can get a little, you got to dissect it a little bit because it says this. It says he made her a helpmeet. That's not sexy. Who wants to be a helpmeet? Here I am with this great destiny. And if you don't dig into the original language, you would think that God set this man up just solidly and square, gave him this powerful, awesome identity and destiny and said, oh man, you're going to need some help with that. That's not true. That's not true. Let's break down those words. See, 2 words. He says helper comparable. Those are 2 words, right? Ezer and neged. Ezer is the word translated helper, right? And I love this because if you look at it, it's deep. It's deep. If you look at it, this has the idea, this Hebrew word that was translated helper, has the idea of to surround or protect. I'm not talking about an assistant, although a good assistant should surround and protect. But watch this. You're not just surrounding and protecting the person. You are surrounding and protecting the vision. Are you tracking with me? So if we look at it, he says it's not good for man to be alone. Now we know that word man is not male. That's the word man that speaks to mankind. It's not good that man would be alone. That word alone better is translated divided, separate, or incomplete. God is saying what I created is not finished yet. So let me add to it a helper, right? Ezer, which literally means to protect or to surround. What am I saying? God created her to protect and surround his vision for humanity, which was that they would together subdue the earth and advance the kingdom of God into the earth. I wish I had about an hour and a half with y'all to really break this thing down. So what it was about more than Adam, because male that wasn't a part of it yet, God created something to protect his plan.
While we're waiting on that so far, Arpain, what do you think, man?
You know, I think that I think it's good from the standpoint that we need to do everything to quicken the end game so we can start something new. You know, I mean, it's the destruction of mankind is coming fast, and then preachers have been usurped because, you know, first of all, you see, it's a whole ocean full of women, so he's got to say something that they're gonna like. That's number one.
Right.
Number two, he had to get his speech approved by his wife
Really?
because she's the heir of the throne, not him, right? So if he's
That's
saying
what I
this,
heard.
oh, he is,
No, well, she is.
yeah. So he probably had to get that approved. So I can see the leaning. So I'm kind of being a little facetious. All I'm saying is I think we should stop expecting some of the people that we have faith in to do the right thing. And the preachers have been usurped. So this is like the culmination of that, right? When you're going to go ahead and change the origin story, we ain't talking about man. We're talking about mankind. You know what I'm saying? That whole notion. I mean, so I said, you know what? I'm kind of, you know, I don't know what more to say. I'm not even all into all the biblical stuff, but I've never heard an interpretation that where not only does the woman not your helpmeet, she's there to protect you. The vision.
Yeah.
You're not the man is not the protector of the vision. The woman. That's what he's saying. That's what he's leading. And you know what? If you're living in 2025 and we see where women have led us today with all of we already got receipts. That shit ain't working. You know, because they ain't meant to lead men. Women are not meant to lead men. And everybody you don't have to have any word, and no unspoken words could tell you that. No spoken words need to tell you that. Just nature in and itself says that human beings are not hyenas. Because that's just a very rare species, and I'm ending it with this, where the women lead, the females lead the males. Hyenas are one. And maybe some insects. But that wasn't enough for mankind. It was not. So I'll end it there.
Very good. Welcome to the show, Ekene. Ekene, take your phone off. I had to put you on mute for a second. Go ahead.
No problem. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing great. Ekene, did you how you doing today, sir? Let me check on first how you doing, man.
I'm doing good. How you been, brother?
Doing well.
Lost in translation. It's been a while, man.
Yes, it has.
Yeah, Mr. Penn gave me a hard time yesterday, but that's
it's your perception. It's your perception of hard time. It's a cultural thing.
I understand.
Ekene, did you get an opportunity to see part of the video, man?
Yeah, I watched the whole thing. That's why I came online, because that was sickening, man. In fact, I would say this is of every pastor that I've had that's in my life, of every pastor or preacher or whatever man they call themselves, men of God, right? I think this is the worst of the worst. I've never had anybody put it that way, say something like that. That tells you that as we are fighting to rescue some men, some are actually going into abyss. Some are never going to be rescued. And the reason why they will never be rescued is because these men never had a man figure in my life, in their lives. These men never had men figure in their lives. So they don't know what it is to be a man. And these are men that women prey on. So if you see those women that are pastors, that are empowered, they usually prey on men that have no man inspiration, or never have any aspiration to be men, never inspired by any man, never guided by any man, or they are just broke. So they made those men. It's I gotta say this, right? I went to church. Like, people don't understand why I left Christianity. Christianity didn't leave me. I left it. And the reason why I left the church was because when I stepped my foot into Pentecostal church in 1998, when I was 18 years old, the first year of it, I was like, okay, I'm liking this. The second year, my conclusion in that second year was that the worst of us presides over the best of us, which means the church is now ruled by criminals, men with questionable attitude, men with questionable character, men that for some reason they would take the word of God and twist this word of God to suit their lifestyle. I'm not a saint. I'm a sinner. But the last thing I'm going to do is to justify my sin using the word of God. I think, to me, is always a step too far. Using my sin to manipulate my sin, to then make it allay with the word of God, so that the sin that I commit will be so unimpactful. But the thing is that people don't understand the danger of that. Whenever you make light of the sin that you commit, what you actually do basically is that you go deep and deep into that sin, and there is no point of return because you are making light of it. You're not actually telling yourself that this is heavy, that this is what it is. It is a sin. You see what I'm saying? So, these men, the sad thing is, the reason why these men do what they do is because what they do is their livelihood. Preaching is their livelihood. The money that get out of this church is their livelihood. But they are destroying lives, destroying futures, making women that really, really want love, that really, really need love, making them single the rest of their lives. They have no love for these women. They don't give a damn about these women. All they give a damn about is the money that sustain them and their family. That is why I tell people all the time that the two biggest worst enemy to you, the two biggest worst enemy to you is your pastor and your politician. Those two people are the closest thing that you have, but they are the worst destructive to you. Don't trust those two people, your pastor and your politician. They don't give a damn about you. All they give a damn about is their pocketbook. Because the moment somebody tells me that when he dies, his successor is his offspring, either his son or his daughter or his wife, will take over his church, not the church of God. Because one thing people don't understand is that these are not church of God. These are family business. I have a guy that he and I knew each other from when I became born again when I was 18 in 1998. He became born again years earlier, maybe like 2 or 3 years earlier. He was a convert from Islam to Christianity. He's now a pastor, whatever title. I said on my Facebook, I knew he was there, that Christianity is nothing but a family business. I knew he saw it, but I don't. But that's what I want. I want them to see it. All the bishops that I knew growing up, I knew they are on my Facebook. Their children are there on my Facebook. I let them know that I know what you guys are doing. I post it all the time on my Facebook. The church is a family business. If you're giving your money to a pastor, giving your heart to a church, know at the end of the day, the church is a family business.
Thank you, Ikene. Arpane, did you have a rebuttal or a comment after that before we get started again?
No, it's good.
Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and bring it back up.
Are we rocking together yet? You taking notes? So that's just the first word. The second word is where things get really, really interesting. Baby, can you come up here real quick? I want to illustrate this. I got to preach. Okay, I'm sorry. May the Lord bless and keep you. May he make his face to shine upon you. We'll pick this up tomorrow. No, the second word is even crazier. So helper comparable. The helper is about surrounding and protecting. It has that idea in there. Protect what? To protect the vision of humankind. The word comparable literally means front. It means front. Which means that the woman represents another front, not a rear. So what's powerful now is I've got this and she's got that. And there will be some times where she is in the front and I've got the back. And then there will be other times when I've got the front and she's got the back. But together we are unstoppable. And every once in a while we'll spin it around and be side by side. And you definitely can't mess with us when both of our fronts are facing. Are you tracking with me? This is not what he meant. I'm out here and she's back there. No. Come on, let's just spin, baby. Let's just spin. Let's just spin. See, the devil can't work. He can't mess with you when you're like this. Because he comes one day, one way, and we'll get him from another way. Are you tracking with me? Come on, somebody. Tell your sister, I got your back. I got your back. I got your back. I got your back. Thank you, gorgeous. So that word, comparable, literally means front. So the woman represents another front. But see, we were taught, I'm talking about generationally, we were taught that it was a man's world. And the woman was just there to serve the man. And if you have that mentality, you never step into what God created you for. He didn't create you to be a back. He created you to be a front. And it's time for you to get on the front lines of your own destiny and stop waiting for the permission from some man. I feel the spirit of the living God in this house right now. God is stirring something on the inside of women in this season.
No one understands me. If I actually told people how I'm feeling, they would think of me differently. That is a lie that I told myself whenever I was going through something. I naturally wanted to bottle up my thoughts and emotions and not let anyone know. But what I came to learn...
He's still going. You're going to stop.
We got a lot more to go. We got a lot more to go.
Listen, oh, you gonna keep it going?
No, I got you.
Woman.
What you think so far, man?
Well, listen, the only part that I thought, just the illustration part of it, is when they were back to back.
Mm-hmm.
Forget about it. If this was silent and he just says, "This is where you look, and this is where the woman who has your back is looking," and he didn't say anything else, I don't have a problem with that configuration.
Okay.
Because we should be looking out for each other. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
What it's all the stuff he said, why he said it that way, to prove his point. Then he ruined it by saying what he said at the end. Because here's the thing: women inherently understand that they're not supposed to lead men. They want to do it, but they get tired of doing it. It's a job to them. It's an obligation that they really don't want. That's why they get tired of men who are weak, even if they can get their way, right? Because they'll be off doing some F stuff because the guy who's home, milking the babies, is not really what drives their boat. Just the control of it does, but the man will lose his oomph really fast. And because it's not in their nature to be in charge of men that way, right? And so this is all bullshit that he's saying. And it's pandering. It's a church full of women. So listen, I didn't even see a man. Is there a man in the audience? Hey, listen, I'll send you, and this is just a sidebar. I won't have to get into it. The guy from Psych Hacks. You ever see the guy from Psych Hacks?
Right.
He has an excellent video called "The Rise of the Beta Male."
I've seen
that. And you saw it. Doesn't it touch on some of this? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So you saw that already. So you see that. I said, man, this is great. I wanted to say, man, this is really good. Anyway, so I'm done. You know what? BMU is lucky he's at dinner, man. So we should try to keep him away from this shit so he can enjoy his kids. Have a good night out, man. This is supposed to be the kids' night out. Because he's gonna go crazy, man.
Of course. He's chomping at the bit. He's probably watching this right now, man.
It's bad, man. But I'm not surprised. It's in the downfall of the relationship between man and woman. None of this should be unexpected.
He was watching. He said, "They need some light."
Yeah, man. He feels comfortable in the dark, man. Go ahead. I'm done now, man. I mean, we waiting on you to hit it. You gonna wait till it's all over?
I gotta wait. I got something special.
Okay. Go ahead, I'm done.
Yeah, he said that so he's preaching two-faced, huh? So his wife is another face, he's another face, and they both kind of rotating around to protect each other.
Right.
That is what you call chaos. That's chaotic. The reason why it's chaotic is because you can't have two-face. And things are not done in two-face. And the reason why things are not done in two-face is because there has to be integrity. You say your words, you mean it. If you have two-face, which means you say this word and then the other person is saying the other word. So who am I going to trust? The husband or the wife? Who is in charge? One person has to be in charge. You can't have two CEOs in an office. Both of them are going to be fired because it's chaotic. You can't be saying something today and tomorrow you don't say what you said. That's two-face. There is a reason why in dictionary, the dictionary goes against two-face. It says you can't be two-faced. In corporate, they say you can't be two-faced. In relationship, you can't be two-faced. In anything you do in life, you cannot be two-faced. The reason why is because one person has to be held responsible for the sins of all of the others under his care. He's the man. but he doesn't want the responsibility of being a man. So now he's sharing the responsibility with his wife. So tomorrow, if anything happens, he's going to say, it's my wife. The wife will be like, hell no, you're the man. No, we're partnership. We partner here. Because he doesn't want to take the responsibility. That's what I said. I'm sorry. I always say this to women that have kids and they're not married. That have a son or they have sons and they're not married. Get a man to raise your son. Take away that child support. Send the boy back to his dad once he's 5 years old. Tell him, raise your son. I'm done. I'm done with the breastfeeding. I've done my part as a mother. You take care of your son. It's your responsibility and walk away. You don't negotiate that with him. It's his responsibility. He's going to have to make that man a man. It's not your responsibility as a woman to make a man a man. You're going to turn a man into a gay man. Maybe not literally a gay man, but his attitude is going to be gay. That's what it is. Because a woman can, my dad used to say that a woman doesn't raise a dog that can bark. The dog that a woman raised doesn't bark. The lion that a woman raised doesn't roar. It doesn't roar. Because a female lion cannot raise the king of the jungle. Doesn't work like that. When a female lion hunts, she hunts something her size. But when a male lion hunts, he hunts something way bigger than him. He takes down a buffalo. A buffalo is twice his size. Male lion weighs at 480 pounds. A buffalo weighs at 1,000. Just little, close to a ton. But a male lion still brings him down. So that's why you get, as a man, you gotta watch what you say. Growing up as a little kid, I know that they said to be a man is not a day job. It's not a day job to be a man. It's something that you go from the age of 5 or 4. You keep every day you go through that fire as a gold to get through purification. It takes 15 years to do that. It takes 15 years, but by the age of 15, which is 10 years from 5, you are supposed to be demonstrating that you are a man. By the time you turn 20, which is 15 years from the age of 5, you are left to yourself. You are left alone. You are left alone to make those kills. Nobody's supposed to help you at that moment because you have 5 years to be there, which means from the age of 15 to the age of 20, you got to start demonstrating that you can do it. That is why a lion, by the time a lion is 2 years old, based on Roman calendar, that is 20 years old based on animal lifespan. A lion is left to hunt at 2 years old, human calendar. But the thing is, it saddens me that we have men that hide under women today. They don't want to speak and tell the truth and speak like men. They go and hide under women. Oh, we're two-faced. Just imagine a man, you went to this woman and you gave her the opportunity to be your wife, and she accepted that opportunity. You gave her the opportunity because she can't be a wife if you didn't ask her to be a wife. She dreamed the day you proposed to her, and when you proposed to her, she dreamed the day you're going to wed her. You didn't do it for yourself, you did it for your legacy, but she did it for her own happiness. That's what we don't understand when we wed women. It's later on they then understand that this is not about your happiness. This is critical, just like I tell my wife all the time. This marriage is not for you. It's for the children, not you. It's not for me. It's for the children, so that they can look at us and have theirs. It's never about you and I. And when I tell her that, she keeps quiet. So when you have to go and look at your wife and tell her she's another face of you, that is loss of credibility.
Thank you, Akane.
And the
All
only
right,
thing,
Ping.
thing I would add to what Akane said was, and I agree with what he said. And even if she got your back, it's still your responsibility to tell her what to look for. So you know what I'm saying? You got to be looking for the right thing. Anyway, so that was a good one. So I don't know, man. It's kind of depressing shit that's going on here with this guy, man. It's, Jesus Christ, man. Go ahead, man.
Where that came from? You know what I'm saying? Appreciate it, Ping. Let's go ahead and get this thing rolling one more time, man.
Is not synonymous with wife. Now, I know how you may have gotten to that conclusion. That's why you got to study in the original languages. The word Isa does not mean wife. It could be wife, but it is woman. And see, so Proverbs 31 messed this up. Proverbs 31 messed this up. Because if we go to Proverbs 31 and 10, and come on, if you've been to any women's anything, I'm a virtuous woman. I'm a Proverbs 31 woman. Lord, help me to be a Proverbs 30. You don't even know what you're praying for when you ask for that. You don't know what you're praying for. I'm about to show you what you're praying for. You don't know what you're asking for. See, here's where it gets tricky. It says, it reads, New King James, it reads, who can find a virtuous wife? For her worth is far above rubies, right? So right there, that kind of messes us up. Oh, let's read verse 11 real quick too, just to put it in the context, right? And then it says, the heart of her husband safely trusts her, so we have no lack again. So we look at that and we say, oh, I need to be a wife. I need to be a wife. If I am to be virtuous, I need to be a wife. There's only one problem. That word that was translated wife is that same word Isa, which means woman. It just so happens in this context that she's a wife, but her being a wife is not what made her virtuous. See, some of you in here right now believe that when you that when you find a man, then you're going to be virtuous, then you're going to be accepted, and then you're going to be good. But that's not even what it means. She became virtuous, and her virtue is what attracted the man. Are you tracking with me? So the man is attributed to her being virtuous. But see, don't get too happy, because let me tell you what that word virtuous means. Oh yeah, just make me a virtuous. I want me virtuous. Make me virtuous. The word that was translated virtuous there is the Hebrew word hayil, and it literally means a force. A force. Oh, I feel the Holy Spirit. This woman, through some process, which we about to talk about in a minute, became a force. Oh, I feel it. How do you become a force? Well, if you break that word down again to its origin, you get the word, or you get the idea of to twist. Virtuous means a force. In another place, that same word is also used when it says an excellent woman is the crown of her husband, right? It's the same word, right? It means to be a force, but it's translated excellent and virtuous. All that's wonderful, but it means a force. But if you get down to the root of that word, it has the idea of to twist.
If I wanted hair hanging down my back like the ancestors blessed it personally, I would use castor oil.
All right, RP.
Listen, man, I got nothing for him, man. I wanted to hear the punchline, but I mean, go ahead, Ikene, you can go, man. And first of all, okay, I do want to say one thing.
Go ahead.
He's preaching to a church full of women who have no virtue. Like just like most modern women, the word virtue, the way there's not a virtuous woman in that whole place. Maybe a girl who's like 10. You know what I'm saying? All those chicks in there, man, they're saying maybe he's going to say something I could be reborn. Because whatever virtue they have, most of that virtue has been gone long time ago. Long time ago. So, but he's preaching to the choir, I guess. he's preaching to the choir. Go ahead, Ekene.
Come on, Ekene.
Yeah. Virtuous woman. Okay. If you look at what he said about virtuous woman, I'm going to agree with him that a woman got to be virtuous to attract a man. But a woman doesn't stay virtuous. That's where she's making that mistake. A woman doesn't stay virtuous until she's able to keep a man. Virtuous means that you have to be acceptable, wholly unacceptable. You have to have that quality. You have to be able to demonstrate the fact that you are created to be a woman, not a female, but a woman. A woman comes with a great responsibility. One of the responsibilities is to be able to hold, a man protects the house, right? He protects the compound, but a woman holds the house down, meaning that she's the one that makes sure the kids are well behaved. She's the one that makes sure that whatever the man provided, she turns it into edible. So she can't be there just being a woman without actually doing the work of a woman. So those are the things that makes her to keep her virtue. But being acceptable to the man is her being virtuous. She got to be virtuous to attract the man. He's right on that. But she also have to maintain that virtuousness, meaning to be able to keep a man and do what contribute to what makes a family a family. Yep. That's my understanding. But I think when it comes to that being a virtuous woman, he's like all over the place because he's saying the right thing, but he kind of find that hey, it seems like I'm going to piss some people off here. So he kind of moved to the left a little bit to get him excited. But then he's like, okay, but I don't want to lie to you. He moved to the right. And then he's like, okay, he's playing both sides. He's not being truthful. He's just playing both sides. Even though what he's saying makes sense to a certain extent, he's playing both sides.
Thank you, Ekene. All right, Payne, did you want to say anything before we kick this thing back off, man? You on mute.
Yeah, go ahead. Kick it back off. Go ahead. Let's go.
All right, let's go.
To twist. So what makes me valuable, because it says that this virtuous woman, her worth was far above rubies. What was it that made her valuable? It was the things that twisted her up in life. I wish somebody would catch it. You don't just wake up virtuous. You've got to be spun into virtuous. It's when you've been twisted around but refuse to break. Sometimes when you're twisted, it hurts and it feels bad and you're lonely and you're desperate and you're depressed. You've been spinning around out of control, not realizing, but you were on your way out. Let me show you something. I want to teach because I'm about ready to shout for you. It's your time. Do me a favor. Turn to your neighbor and say, it's your time. It's your time. It's your time. Come on, somebody. Turn to your other neighbor and say, it's our time. Come on. It's been long enough. I'm ready for my destiny according to my identity. Come on, somebody. You've been twisted around long enough. not realizing that God was shaking you and making you and molding you into something. I had to be twisted. Come on, somebody. I had to be twisted. But even though I was twisted, don't get it twisted. I'm on my way to something in this place. Yeah. 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 Twist me if you want to. Twist me if you want. I dare you to twist me. See, all I need to know is that you can only twist me. You can't break me. That's all I need to know. And I speak that over somebody's life. Somebody right now, you're being twisted. And I hear God saying, it is not unto death. I feel God. It is not unto death. Not the death of your marriage. Not the death of your dream. Not the death of your future. Not the death of your finances. You're being twisted. But when God is finished with you, you are going to come forth as gold.
All right, Arpane.
Let me ask you, I mean, what, I mean, was that some kind of Women's Day where men weren't allowed? Or is that just random where there's just absolutely no men who want to go to church anymore to hear the word? Because if there was a man in there, I didn't see one besides him. Did y'all see in the crowd?
There might have been somebody at the door, man. I don't know.
Because if that wasn't something designed just for them to talk to women, then the issue is whatever he said is almost secondary to the fact that there's an absence of men who want to hear what these guys have to say.
Absolutely.
That's scary, man. I mean, shoot. You know, but listen, you know what? You can. The thing I get from it is besides that little twisted little theory he just came from virtuous to twisted shit that he just talked about. We just can't really get it twisted. What's really twisted is the fact that there's no coming back for our relationships with women the way we know it. We gotta, men have to realize that. We can only cherry pick you guys, not me. You guys who ain't married or whatever, you young guys. Y'all gonna have to cherry pick the women you want. Because there's no groupthink that's going to make Black women in particular come back to any semblance of what you might think is natural order of things. It's just not happening. It's never going to happen the way you think it's going to happen. It's done. You might be able to pluck a few out of the crowd who come to their own senses, but on an individual basis. You know what I'm saying? That's how I see it. Because right now they're under the psychosis. That shit ain't. Whatever plan that was put out there, it's in full force and it's on autopilot.
Absolutely, absolutely. Ekene, come on, man.
Yeah, like Mr. Penn said, about that room, I think is 99.999% women. I've been looking at that camera. I couldn't see a single man, and there's a reason for that. Because all the men that have been to that church see it as a bullshit. You see what I'm saying? Like, there is no way that men have never been invited to that church. There is no way that men have been to that church. But every man that came never came back again. They never went back.
Women are gone. So it was a woman's event.
Okay, even if it's a woman's event, I remember when TD Jakes' daughter, right? She does this women event here in Dallas, right? Some men do show up. So the women bring the men over.
Well, they do. You're right. Some men do show up.
Yeah, they do bring men over. I've been to so many women events when I was in the church. They bring men over. They bring the men that they want to marry or the men that they want to force to marry them. Because sometimes this man didn't go there in good faith. You know,
right.
If you don't go, you might not get a box again. So you gotta go. This man don't show up in good faith.
No, they didn't.
Yeah. So the bottom and the thing is, it's sad, man. Because I gotta be honest with you, right? Let me say something. Let me just say one thing that Penn said earlier, but I might have to kind of go on the other side of him. I don't think, just like I think we may have said this yesterday, I don't think that there are no women in America to marry. I married one, and she's a good one. I, there are women to marry in this country. There are good women in this country. There are very, very good women in this country. In any country where you see bad ones, there are good ones. But the thing is that the bad ones, just like I said, that 3% of us rule over the 97%. The bad ones have loud mouths. They are far more loud than the good ones. The good ones don't say nothing. They're scared to say something. They don't even want to come out. They don't even want to say anything. They're scared they might get in trouble. The bad ones have nothing to lose. They've been losing all their lives. They couldn't keep a man. They have 2, 3 kids. Somebody that has 2, 3 kids by 2 different men or one man that never married her, isn't that person a loser? That person is a loser. If you can't get a man to marry you and you have 2 or 3 kids, you have one or more kids, you're a loser. If you marry the same, if you have baby by a man that you call an abuser, you are a loser. You see what I'm saying? You can accuse somebody of being an abuser, then you're still opening your legs to have more kids for that person. Or you went ahead and have a child for somebody you accused for being an abuser. Something is wrong with that woman. So, but the thing is, like I'm saying, the good ones, when I see them, I get mad at them. I tell them, why can't you come out of your dungeon? Why can't you come out of that house? Why can't you go pick up a bag, go to Walmart, go shop, go places, go to weddings? If you have a girlfriend that has a brother, go to that house, cook food with her, make those domestic things. Help her to wash her plate. Help her to do something in the house. Her brother is going to marry you. Because I got to tell you today, just like I always tell women, men are not going to go to clubs to marry women. Men don't even go to the church to marry women anymore. Because the club and the church are now the same. They're both presided over by pimps. The pimp rule the church. The pimp rule the club. Men don't go to those places anymore to find wives. Because you know why? The women that go to those 2 places are hoes and prostitutes. The same women that go to church are the same women that go to club. And men don't go to those 2 places anymore. You got to go to Walmart to go shop. You got to go to Target. You got to go to buy grocery stores. Men would like to see women you see those produce area? When a man sees a woman there, he knows she cooks. The reason why men don't go for women that go to church is because when you get a woman that goes to church, she's an argument. She wants to argue with you. She wants to debate with you. She wants to drag stuff with you. She's always open for a fight. You see what I'm saying? Because our pastor is teaching her to be a fighter. That's why men don't want to deal with those women. Women don't look for wives at the church anymore. Go to where men like to get wives at the weddings.
No,
men go to weddings to find wives.
Yeah, no, that's funny.
You know what? I had to let you guys go ahead and get out what you had to say, because it's very important that we respect our elders, man, especially when it comes to things like this and wisdom. Arpain said that a man is supposed to protect, right? Is that correct, Arpain?
Yeah. That's your duty.
Exactly. Here's the thing, man. The Bible says you're supposed to study and show yourself approved, man. And you should be able to know when somebody's telling the truth and when somebody's twisting the truth. Okay. So what I want to do is I'm going to pull up some of the stuff that he said so we can rightly understand exactly where it came from. You're not going to be taking my word for it. I'm going to be showing you proof. You see what I'm saying? I'm not going to be the type of person that tells you how to think. I'm going to teach you to think for yourself. And that way you can go back and you can take whatever it is I showed you and you can read it for yourself. Okay. So I'm not trying to trick you. I don't have anything to sell you. I'm not selling you no tickets, none of that stuff. I want you to have it for yourself. Okay. Now, here's the definition that he was speaking about, the Hebrew word. Let me take my glasses off so I can get busy. You know what I'm saying? So I can see what's going on. Now, the phrase Ezer Kenagadu is a Hebrew phrase that translates to a helper corresponding to him. So basically, it's expressing something in relation to something else, okay? Or a helper suitable to him. So how can you be something on its own leading in relationship to your own self? You see what I'm saying? That is the definition of it. He was saying that it means something else, which that was not the definition of it. Okay. Now that is one word that he pulled out of the woodworks. I'm going to share another one. Give me a second. And I'm going to go ahead and go back and share my screen for Proverbs 31. And this one, he went to 10, and he says, a wife of notable character, who can find? She is worth far more than rubies. Okay. It says a noble character. So that means far above the regular character. You see what I'm saying? Because character comes in different flavors. It comes in honesty. It comes in bad character. But this one, it says of noble character, which is far above and beyond. Okay. And then there was also another Hebrew word he liked to use, sha'il. Let me go ahead and pull that up. So I want you to see that as well, too. And where is it? I'm going to pull that one up so you can see as well, too. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. I want to make sure I'm sharing the right one. There it is. And that one says, the Hebrew word often translated as virtuous, Ishaya, which is used in Proverbs 31 to describe a woman. It signifies quality like strength, valor, excellence, and uprightness. The phrase Ashet Sha'il, meaning a woman of Sha'il or a virtuous woman, is particularly well known from Proverbs 31. So that goes along right what I just said a minute ago. Somebody who is of notable character. Okay. Somebody who's of noble character. Now, here's the thing. Whenever we have these conversations, I want to make sure that we understand exactly what we're looking at. And I think sometimes people will preach to the wrong end of us. You know, let me tell you what I learned today. I was watching something on TikTok, and the lady was just describing toxic masculinity. And I was like, you know, that don't sound right. So I let her speak. And she said, this is what toxic masculinity sounds like. And then she went and she talked about toxic femininity. Masculinity is someone who protects, but the toxic side of masculinity is controlling. I can understand that because the better part of us wants to protect, and the bad part of us is controlling. So what does that look like on the woman's side? On the woman's side, there's submission, okay, which is good. And then the other side of that is rebellion. If you go back and you look in Genesis, it was Eve's disobedience or rebellion to what she was supposed to do, what Adam said and what God said, that brought it down. So whenever you hear preachers and pastors talking and preaching, you have to ask yourself the question, are they preaching to the enlightened version of your nature? Or are they preaching to the devolved version of your nature? Are they preaching to the protection in men? Or are they preaching to the controlling in men? Are they preaching to the submission in women? or are they preaching to the rebellion in women? Does that make sense? Arpain, you follow me so far? All right. Now, here's the thing. The problem when we have preachers like this is they get up and they take the word and they twist it and they don't apply it in real life. I don't know about you, Arpain. I don't know no woman who wants to take on a fight with a burglar breaking in the middle of the night, right? That's your job. And then on top of that, when you're fighting, you don't want to have your wife behind your back looking somewhere else while you're fighting somebody in the front, because now your focus is broken. Think about it. Your focus is broken because you're attacking the person that's in front of you, and at the same time, you're still required to look after your wife, which is behind you. The Bible says, "My people perish for broken focus, for lack of knowledge," because you can't see what's going on behind you because your focus is somewhere else on a more immediate threat. You see what I'm saying? See, I don't mind women helping because that's what the Bible says you're supposed to do. You're supposed to help do what? God commissioned Adam to work, right? So if that's the case, if he gave Adam commission to work, then by default, Eve is supposed to help him do what?
To work, right?
Correct. Even the Bible talks about being equally yoked. What is a yoke, Arpain? That's that thing they put on two oxen, right? And they both pull in what? One direction.
Yeah.
They don't hook one oxen in the front and another ox in the back and then try to pull. You see what I'm saying? One going one way and one going the other way. No, that's not how it works. Even Jesus said himself, he said, give me your burdens. You know what I'm saying? My yoke is easy. My burdens are light. You see what I'm saying? So God wants to take on your burdens. That's the issue, man. We don't take the whole entire word of the Lord and apply it properly. Now, here's the thing. The problem is that when you're being a man, when you're raised up like Ikene was saying, from a small boy to being a man, that is being a profession because you're going to work toward being a husband. There are certain things that you have to learn along the way that build you up to be a husband. You feel what I'm saying? They teach you how to be resourceful. They teach you how to protect yourself, to protect those around you. It teaches you leadership. It teaches you patience, mercy, and grace. Even though you could probably power through whatever it is you want to do, you still have to handle it, in such a way that people can understand that don't break. You know how you handle people that don't break them? That is something that men do. They have to learn how to do to be a man. You see what I'm saying? Then on top of that, women have to learn how to be women. That is something that has to be taught from mother to daughter and on up. You see what I'm saying? Because there are certain things that only a woman can teach another woman. Well, my thing is, what happens when everybody wants to be a man? What happens when everybody wants to be in the profession of being a man? Everybody wants to fight. Everybody wants to protect. Everybody wants to lead. Well, my whole thing is this: if everybody's concentrating on being the man, we're slowly but surely forgetting how women should be women. And to me, adding everything on one end of the equation and leaving nothing leads us to the point where we're at a deficit. You see what I'm saying? We have to have a balance. There always has to be a balance. Because think about it. I don't know who told women that their role was not important. They lied to them. Because there's a certain side of a woman that activates something inside of a man that no man can do. You see what I'm saying? A man should always have a safe place to lay his head. And the only place that he can do that is in the arms of a woman. You see what I'm saying? She soothes him. She inspires him. She nourishes him. That is her profession. You see what I'm saying? She also bears children. That's something that men can do. Could you imagine if everybody just decided to be a man and nobody wanted to be a woman? We wouldn't have any children. We wouldn't have any nurturers. You see what I'm saying? We wouldn't be able to feed ourselves. You know, being a woman in itself is a profession that actually needs to be looked at and also praised for what they do. Because think about it. If you were busy being a woman and being proud of being a woman, you wouldn't have time to want to be a man. You see what I'm saying? It's the same way with men. If men were proud to be men, they wouldn't have time to want to be a woman. But the problem is that today we got people who want to talk and switch things up. And what happens is we leave things out. Men are forgetting how to be men, and women are forgetting how to be women. And it's just a bunch of people in the middle staring at each other like, well, what do we do next? You know, I don't know about you, but I don't know any woman that wants a wishy-washy man. You know, and I don't know no man that wants an old burly woman. You see what I'm saying? No. So I say all that to say this, is that women have a very important role, you know? And then the thing about it is people want to sign up for the best parts of being a woman. Certain people, if you know what I mean, want to sign up for the best parts of being a woman, looking beautiful and all this other stuff. But nobody wants to sign up for the grunt work. Nobody wants to sign up to have babies. Nobody wants to sign up to nurture. Nobody wants to sign up to be patient. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to sign up to be understanding. Nobody wants to do none of that stuff. But guess what? It's needed. And it's the same way with men. Nobody wants to sign up to go out and do the hard labor that works night and day. Nobody wants to sign up for having to listen to somebody's stuff, knowing in full well that they're wrong, but you still got to hear them out to let them know that they're still important, you know, and also include them in the mission at hand. You know what I mean? And also have to handle them in a certain way. Grace and mercy are synonymous. And the thing about it is, it takes a man who has force and power and restraint to exercise both and when to apply both. Not everybody knows how to do that if you have not been taught. And for most parts, that is usually taught from man to man. Because given, like we talked about earlier, the toxic side of masculinity, that goes unchecked as being controlling. That can destroy societies. That can go in and rip things apart. So that's the main reason why we also need the feminine to actually activate and inspire the protection part of mankind. And that's the reason why the protection part also inspires the submission portion of women. So that way we can talk to the better nature of ourselves instead of flipping it around and having these gender wars where the women who are in rebellion speak to the controllingness of mankind. Does that make sense? What do you think about it?
Well, I would say, you know, I hear you said a lot, but you know what? Women really aren't in rebellion against men. They're in rebellion against their true nature. That's why we can't get to any resolution, right? That, like you said, feminism and it's programming that has taught them that anything that is uniquely woman is inferior. That's why they don't want to really be the bricklayer. They just want to be the person who tells the bricklayer what to do. Right. So and based on just looking at that little bit of that psych hack on how men who are not alpha men, but men who are less than, aid women to get into what they want. They get used, right? And so they're actually the army for the way the women want to protect them from men who don't want to buy none of that bullshit, right? Because if you're everywhere on a place where you're trying to tell women to do something, or you exercise your own nature, there's always 3 or 4 men to jump in to take the bloom off the rose that you got going on. Right? It's always a protector saying some stupid shit that ruins it. So of course women are a little bit rebellion against men, but I think it's really their nature. That's why it's so hard to see where the end game really is. You know, other than the real end game. I just think there's no, like I said, you could cherry pick the good women out of the pot. Like, because some women do come to their senses, just like some men get better. I think men, especially black men, I think there's been a marked improvement in black men, and it's not going to college. It's understanding what our true nature is. It's not just banging out ladies either. It's a recognition that you'll be upside down in a relationship if you're not the leader, right? Because not only will you feel inferior, your woman will eventually treat you with less respect than you deserve, or she'll lose respect for you.
Right.
And if you listen to the boss chicks, no matter how much money they make, no matter what kind of life they set for themselves, the first thing they'll tell you is they never want to take care of a man. Absolutely. They'll have him around as a puppy, right? But if it was in a relationship, I want him to make more than me, right? And then when they realize what they're saying, they want the guy to make more than them, but they still want him to be beneath them. And right? They want him to be traditional, but they don't want to be traditional. And that's why they have trouble with the men of higher stature. Because why would I conquer the world just so I could be subjugated to my woman? That's just crazy, right? So it's hard for them to fathom that. That's why they say a lot of dumb shit. So, I mean, preachers like this is just indicative of where we are today. Because they find that, because especially black women, I think all women, but black women in general have this incessant inferiority complex. They have a need to always be reaffirmed. The attention and reaffirmation. Somebody tell them, so we got your back. You're a queen. You're this, all this shit that, it's just, I don't know where we go with it. And now I'm starting to say, you know what? It ain't my fight. It really ain't. This is the younger people's fight, because y'all got to live with this. I got a couple of daughters, and when I talk to them, I can see that they've been tainted by the liberalism, right? And I think I'm the only tether that they have that said, you know what? That's not how it's going to be if you ever get into a real relationship with a guy that you respect. You're going to have to temper some of the things you've learned out there and actually be the guy's, help me wife, his muse and all that other kind of stuff, because that's the best way you can get stuff out of a guy. The obligations, you see what I've done for your mother. If you want a guy like that, you got to be kind of like your mother. Somebody who would accept that and understand that. But anyway, man, I don't know what the solution is, Litton. I don't know what the solution is. It looks hopeless, you know, except for the individual guy, because our marriage rate's down to 30%.
I wonder why.
Yeah, it's 30%.
Let's ask Ekene, man, because I know he's been listening, man. Ekene, what you got on it, man? I know you saw the last one, and I know you heard what I was talking about earlier, so I wanted to get your commentary here, man. You're on mute.
Yeah, you're on mute.
You're on mute, sir.
Mute. You're on mute.
You're on mute. Can't hear you. We can't hear you.
On mute.
You're on mute. You Bluetooth connected to your phone.
Oh, my bad. I was mute. My bad.
Yeah. But we were trying to talk.
Yeah. No, because I got to get my headphone in order to hear louder.
Right.
Yeah, but the thing that I was saying is that, Mr. Penn spoke so much, I forgot what the last video was saying.
You weren't supposed to listen to the video, but you had to hear what Lit was saying.
You back on mute,
but
man.
you guys can no. You guys can keep talking. Let me attend to my wife. I'll be right back. Okay. You guys can keep going.
Checking on his wife, man.
Yeah.
But think about it, man. If you ran it the other way around backwards, it would not work. You know what I mean? Because she would not. I put it like this: your woman would have disdain for you if she had to do everything for you. Because at that particular point in time, you become a child. You know what I mean? And she don't want a child; she want a husband. And it's the same way with women. You know, men don't want to, tell women what to do all the time like a dependent. They want a wife. You know what I mean? And then the killing part about it is people love to say, well, I was never taught to be a wife. That's not an excuse. It's really not. Because they weren't taught how to do other stuff and they still figure out how to do it. You do what you feel is important. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and if you've been taught not to hold men in reverence, then why would you go ahead and listen and be a better wife? Why would you do that in light of the rhetoric?
Listen, man, I just think that, I mean, when you say, when I look at it, when our marriage rate's down to 30%, it's not just the women, like men don't want to get married, but they're both for different reasons, right? Women don't want the control aspect of it. They don't want to have any of the traditions that go along with being a married woman. They still want to be free to do what they want. And men have a fear of divorce for the most part, because the vetting process, no matter how well you do it, of course, you're never going to get guarantees, but the laws haven't changed. So there's a lot of hypocrisy going on. The women want everything. They don't just want equality. They also want the protections that were, afforded to them, when they rightfully needed them 100 years ago, 50 years ago. And they don't want to let go of that, So I just don't. I just think that the birth rates are going down, and I think some of the stuff that's going on now is trying to encourage people to get back together. But I think marriage, man, is a construct that is not only in jeopardy. I just think it's going away, and so I'm thinking that. But there's still men and women who want to be in relationships, but they just don't want to be bound by them. Right? They're going to have kids, and the kids, one mistake, and then all of a sudden you have an estrangement, right? The man is not in the house anymore, or something like that. I don't know how you avoid that. Now, I'm thinking that I think there's got to be a new contract written up between men and women, and maybe that's an admission that we'll never get back to 50% or 70% marriage rate. I just think that's never coming back. But I think there's some kind of paternity agreement that needs to be had between men and women that takes care of children that are born in the way we live today, right? I'm talking about lawyers and fees and notaries, but you got to make sure it's something that is approvable in the state that you live in, because people are going to keep having children. Right. So, and one of the things we know is that I think the men need to be assured that they can raise those kids the way they need to, because we know how poorly women raise children on their own, because the pressures of raising a kid on your own, they can't handle. Listen, You know what? There's a significant, I'm gonna end here. It's a significant amount of men raising kids on their own. When's the last time you heard a man come on here and say how hard it is to raise a kid?
Men love raising kids.
Yeah.
You know why? Do you know what? Let me tell you. Do you know why men love raising kids?
Go ahead, tell me.
Because they can see themselves in their children,
right?
And it plays to their ego. You know what I'm saying? Look what I did. Beautiful kids. My kids smart. Men love to brag on their kids, especially their sons. You know what I mean? That's my boy. You know what I mean? That's my girl. You know what I mean? That for a father to brag on his children because he sees something in his kids. That's the reason why kids are so important to men. You know what I mean? That's the reason why, because they can see a portion of themselves. Now, if there's a kid he don't see himself in, that ain't my boy. You know, it plays into his ego. You know, like, he look like you, but he don't act like me.
That's right. Well, let me ask you, let's stay on that path, though, right? See, now you don't have to change all laws, but the point is that if there was more fairness in who can raise the kids, that would change a lot of stuff, right? Because right now, the way things are, we're unleashing a whole bunch of men who are unprepared for the world. You know, forget about the women being unprepared. I think it's really more dangerous when the men are unprepared for the world because they're being raised by women who may be estranged from their father for whatever reason. And when women become estranged, they get petty and they make it very difficult for a man to father.
And you know what it does to our pain? It breaks a man's focus too.
Yes, of course.
Think about it. Think about this, man. Think about this. If you let's look at America. In America, we already know that marriage is down, right? Well,
yeah.
You also have to look at the state of our country in relationship to other countries. Now, true enough, we got money or whatever, but that's only because America is the world's reserve currency. You see what I'm saying? We got the power by default. But if you think about it, in the early turn of the century, man, we were America's factory. We was America's army. You know, we was America's, the world's moral police. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I got a line. We put that stick on them. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, we were full of grit. You know, honor, loyalty, duty, all of that stuff that you hear on these old army commercials and stuff like that. Men really believed in that because they had a society that propped men up and said, hey, you know what? These men who do this hard work should be celebrated. You know, if you went off to war or whatever, you can come back and have a job waiting on you, or you can go to school on the GI Bill or whatever. Anything that they did, you laid your life down for this country. We're going to make sure that we take care of you. You're a veteran now, you know, or even if you weren't a veteran, you're a factory worker. You know, you were celebrated, you know, and then on top of that, what happens is when the world stops celebrating its heroes, it gives credence and rise of villains. So my thing is this: who are the villains? The villains are the ones who get up in pulpits on Sundays and preach against God's purpose. Gentlemen like that dude, we saw that because we already know for a fact, if it doesn't elevate or if it doesn't promote the kingdom of heaven in which God has his plan set forth, it is an assignment.
Right.
From Satan. Think about it. If you're both focused and you both agree on something, like the Bible says, two come together unless they agree, that means two can put to flight 10,000. Well, one can only do 1,000. So that means you're better when you're together, working together. You see? What happens when you get two people that don't know how to play well with each other? You waste a whole lot of time bickering. So what happens is when you have a whole country full of men who waste a lot of time bickering with their women, the men who have learned how to cooperate with their women are busy building the world on the other side. And those who work together will always come out on top. Always.
I agree with that.
While we're spinning our wheels going back and forth, we're not speaking to the best parts of us that motivate us to be the best versions of ourselves. And that is why I see when we look at our community, our pain, we don't lead in much but entertainment and athletics, and that's about it. Every now and then we have sparks of ingenuity and stuff like that. But for the most part, when people come and they think about Black people, the first thing they think about is entertainment. You know,
right? And these days, ratchet entertainment.
Exactly.
It's not even entertainment, man.
Right.
I mean, it's not even, you know, it's nothing you could take home to mom, man. Shit, everything has a adult advisory on it.
Right.
You know, and which doesn't matter to anybody anymore, right? Little kids are seeing that. So I just don't, I mean, I'm just saying, this is bad, man. And the thing is, a lot of us know it. A lot of women know it. But when you get a taste of power, man, it's not easy to give it up. Like I said, it's just not. I mean, you know, and they're right now, they're sacrificing everything for it because they always know that if they want a baby, they can find somebody to give them one. If they want a husband, they can find somebody, even if they're unhappy, to marry them, right? Or if they don't want to be married, they can find a slew of men to satisfy them sexually.
I'm glad you brought that up, Arpain.
Right. So
there was an article that was talking about the rise of HIV in our community.
Right.
being led by our women. And that is an alarm bell that needs to be sounded. You know, we've been telling them about this 80-20 rule for the longest. And now it's coming out to bear fruit. And now they're still finding a way to blame the men. Well, guess what? The men are not having sex like y'all think they are. As a matter of fact, we have more virgins than you do.
Yeah, we was on
who's really doing what? You know what I mean? The numbers speak otherwise. And for them to stick their heads in the sand and say, forget what you're talking about, I kind of got an idea of what's going on. I think it's going to be a culling and they're going to do it themselves, you know, being in rebellion. You know, if you're not going to be virtuous,
right,
there's going to be something out here in these streets that's going to be waiting on you.
Yeah, it's waiting on you.
It's going to wipe out your entire bloodline. So it's pretty much going to take care of itself. So either you're going to be virtuous by, you know, omission or commission. So,
well, I got one for you though. You know, we were on another channel, Risky, and it came up that how many partners does the average man have?
Right.
That's just the average, right? Not the gigolos all the way down to the incel.
Right.
It's the average man by the time he's 30 has like maybe eight sexual encounters.
Right.
Now, for some guys, they say, well, that's low. But some guys, that might, maybe that's close.
If you average the numbers out, that sounds about right. From those who don't have a woman, who never had one,
right,
to the master Dixman that's out here slaying. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So let's just say 8, right? And I said, well, to them on the panel, I said, well, you know, by 30, the average woman has a whole lot more than that if they were active.
Or if
and they told me that that's not true. They said the average woman only has like, I said, you ain't talking about the black women today. I mean, get out of here. They said the average woman, they said only has like 4 or 5. I said, in what world? Maybe in my world back then, but the women today, you gotta be kidding me.
Think about it. That don't even make sense, because if you look at the numbers are paying, 30 to 40% of the children that say they'll belong to the men they're supposed to belong to don't belong to them.
Yeah,
that's by DNA testing. And now they have to, it's so bad now they have to put in laws in place where before a man can even pay child support, they gotta run the contracts.
Thank goodness. And because men were too dog shit stupid to know that they should have done that anyway, law or no law. Before you sign your name to a dotted line, you got to stop being Cleophas, man. Most likely, if that woman you have is not yours, that kid, there's a good chance that kid's not yours.
Absolutely.
You know, so I don't know. I think the average woman of today's sexual marketplace, 8 is probably a low number.
Right.
You know, not all, but just enough to make a difference.
Right. But here's my thing, Arpin. I think we owe it to the community to replace the good women with more good women and roll them off the showroom floor, because what we have on the showroom floor now is a used car lot, and ain't no telling what's out there on the used car lot. We talking about busted transmissions, you know, high mileage, you know what I'm saying, stuff that's missing parts and other parts slapped onto it. You know, you can't really represent, you know, the country with leftover parts. You know what I mean? That type of thing. And the thing about it is, men don't work hard for used stuff. You know, if you got something that you knew was only yours, that wasn't damaged, didn't get a heart broken, you know, didn't have a whole bunch of debt or whatever, somebody you can build with from scratch. I think those men who have done the work should actually be the ones who go forward with the brand new models, you know. Because what's going to happen is they're going to have time to teach those women, you know, how to be virtuous women, and then teach their children how to be virtuous. You see what I'm saying? Because what we have right now,
how do we roll them? We don't roll them. They have to roll themselves out. They got to identify themselves as different.
Well, our pain, if they don't know how to do it, nobody's teaching them, how they're going to learn.
I don't think men can teach them how to roll themselves out. I mean, because if we could teach those women, that means we could find them. Men are saying they can't find them.
You know why, don't you?
Why?
Because the women who are actually supposed to be teaching that stuff, that women, the magical stuff that only women know, that you call it the black girl magic, you know? Yeah. We need to take those women who know what they're doing and say, hey, look, we need some more of these right here.
Right.
You know,
Right.
because the ratchet ones are outpacing y'all, you know,
big time.
You know what I'm saying? We need some more old reliables, you know.
Yeah, I think that's true, and I think the other thing is not true in reverse. I think more men are coming into I guess focus that we don't have that safety net, right? So the Pookies and Ray Rays, that bad name we give to those guys,
right?
Those guys are like a lot more they are more identifiable than men on their square,
right?
Right? You have to choose a Pookie and Ray Ray if you're a woman because you can identify the difference between a guy like that who's shucking and jiving, might be handsome, might be this,
right?
And you always shun the guy that you call a square,
right?
Right? He got a 9 to 5. Since when is a man having a 9 to 5 makes him not an eligible man to actually talk to? Right? You hear women say that he doesn't have a business. He has a 9. Most people don't have businesses. You know, and most people don't have careers. I mean, careers saying, you know, they have jobs.
Right.
That doesn't mean they can't elevate. And that's another thing. Women don't like to be a man's muse. Like if you get the right woman with the right time, and women kind of they serve as muses, right? Because just being around you, you know that you want to satisfy, not just satisfy them, but you want to do for them, you want to do for the family, and just by not just obligation, but by necessity,
right?
Most men want to expand their kingdom for their families,
right?
Wife and kids.
Right.
We had a 1-bedroom house. We got another kid. We need a bigger house, or we need to move somewhere else that's safe. When I first married my wife, man, we had squirrels falling out of the ceiling in our room.
What?
Squirrels from the drop ceiling? Squirrels were falling down because the landlord had a big hole in the roof.
Yeah.
And a squirrel got in there. They were falling into the bedroom every so often. I had to get up. I said, we got to get the hell out of here.
Right. You did right.
But if you look at it this way,
where you at, man?
I'm in the background.
Nowhere, man. Just
I'm fighting with a little one over my phone, so that's why I'm in the background.
All right, man. People need to see men taking care of kids, man. You know,
I know, man.
Like kids.
Yeah, I know. You got to do what you got to do.
Right. Hey, Ekanay, that's your daughter?
That's my daughter. Yeah.
She's big, man.
You remember when she was born, right?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, that was a year and 9 months ago. She's about to turn 20 months.
Wow.
It can take care of his daughter, man. Look, what I told y'all, man. Men like raising kids.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
Right here. Proof right here.
Oh yeah. I find joy in raising her every day, man. I find joy, man. It gives me happiness. It gives me joy. Just the fact that you're coming home and you know you have a daughter at home, you have a child to go home to, man. It gives you happiness. It gives you joy. It gives you sense of belonging. Like nothing like that. Nothing like having to go home and then you know that as soon as you come home, somebody's just looking downstairs, waiting for you to come up. As soon as she come up, she jumps. She doesn't care who is next to her. She just want her daddy.
That's right.
She just want her daddy. And she doesn't care about her mom that moment. All she cares about is her dad. She doesn't. And then her mom gets jealous, you know?
Yeah, it be like that sometimes, man.
I know. But what I was trying to say is this, right? We have when you hear women say stuff about 9 to 5 and all these things, we have to understand that these women are women that come from damaged life, you know? They come from damaged life. So they want to still live the same lifestyle that they lived since they were 17, 18, 19. They want to live in that lifestyle that they've been introduced to. That is why you see somebody like Tyrese's wife divorcing Tyrese. and then she's looking for payment. She's not looking for that payment because she cares about the money that much, but she wants to sustain that lifestyle. So these women don't want to ever believe that they are getting old. It doesn't matter if they are 70, they still want to sustain that lifestyle. It doesn't matter if they are 90, they still want to sustain that lifestyle because the world has told them that they can get whatever they want. You feel me?
Right.
So, but, and they are willing to stay single the rest of their lives if they can't get it. You know why? Because if they can afford what they want, if they cannot get what they want, they will buy the least that they can get. And the least that they can get is to look for those boys that are in the street, those boys that are in the street that are doing nothing but going to the gym because they know that these women with money will want them and trying to provide any kind of dick that they can provide to her because they know that she will pay for it. But while she's paying for that nonsense, guess what? She wants you, that is a working hard man, to come and bail her out, to come and pay for her lifestyle, to come and be her armor and shadow. But she is not living the lifestyle that will attract you. Just imagine that kind of stupidity. It's like somebody going to God, asking God for help, but not demonstrating to God the reason why God should provide her that help. It's stupid, man.
I feel you. Arpan, you were saying something else? Thank you, Ink.
Oh, I'm good. I was just listening. I was letting him get his turn then. Is that a super chat for Big Ant up there?
Yeah, man. Let me go ahead and read the super chat, man. He said, Payne's lying, bro. He said, there were no squirrels. Payne was just high. Respect to the panel. That's what's up, man.
What's going on, Big Ant, man? What's happening?
Yeah, man. I'm gonna go ahead and give him a doggone super chat, man. The $10 variety.
Oh, let me slow it down. Rapping with the singing, I be singing. You can get it all free like welfare. Back to the beginning, know what I told ya. I got 2 degrees, now I'm dumb rich. This sound like some 718 shit. The living weirdo on the same shit. Gave me in, let's go buy a Lennis.
All right, that's what I'm talking about. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it, Big Ant. Big Ant was like, "All right, Payne, you ain't had no squirrels up there, man." Listen, man, I'm putting it like this. When you think about the situations and problems that we have, it's only due to the fact that people really don't want to do that part, man. I don't understand why. And I think the only way that we're gonna have to get back to it is we have to make the good people look more appealing than the bad. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people used to take umbrage to Kevin when he was like, put on a suit. He used to have this thing called Suit Saturdays. Because most people don't wear no suit on a Saturday and go out and get in creation. And that's where he did a lot of his networking or whatever, and it was like, I ain't even put no suit on or whatever. Well, if you don't put no suit on, how they gonna know you different?
Right.
And we have to tell women the same way. If you don't put on the sundress, how they gonna know you any different? You dressing like the rest of everybody else, So think about how the good man's supposed to find the good women if you dressed up in the wrong uniform.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's just the way it is, man. Sheesh. Right. Like I said, I don't want to be like a Debbie Downer, man, but I just think that maybe there's things that change, like the sea change, whatever that word comes in, and people start to see things differently. I just have a feeling that if the country can stay conservative a little longer, I'm not just talking about President Trump, but if the conservative values can start to seep back in. Now, I'm not talking Republican. I'm talking about conservative, getting rid of all this freak stuff that was going on before.
Right.
You know, women being women, men being men, two sex, passports with male or female on it. Stuff that starts to make sense again without trying to take the 99% and mold us into some freak shit that we know inherently is wrong.
Right.
You know? And so I think that can start people back to really being able to say what they mean without fear of reprisal, right? When they're telling the truth, right? The truth should never get you from a job. I mean, it depends on how you wield it, right? But if I misgender somebody, I shouldn't get a reprimand from HR. You know, that kind of stuff. So, I mean, so maybe somehow some of that stuff will start to get us to say, hey, listen, enough is enough. And I just think that for men, nobody, with all the stuff that has been put on black men, right? Nobody has gotten us to the point where a lot more black men say, shit, you know what? Okay, uncle, I know it's up to me to get my shit together. Right. And so, and the ones who are getting their shit together are almost easily identifiable from the ones who don't want to do it. But nobody made us do that other than us wanting to do it.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And I think and under the oppression that we've had, and I think there's some kind of revelation has to come to black women on their own. And you're starting to hear some of that, right? On the internet, right? You're finding some of these content creators and say, wait a minute, hold up. Right.
You know what I think it is, our pain? I think what it is that men coming forward made some of these other women comfortable so they feel protected so they can say what needs to be said.
I agree with that.
Yeah, because Kevin had this thing where he said we need to give cover to the women who do good work, and allow them to do their thing. You know what I'm saying?
I think
the only reason why people don't want to be who they were created to be is because A, nobody taught them how to. And then B, nobody showed them the beauty of being what God gave you to be. You see what I'm saying? Think about it. It will be a whole lot easier to be a man if somebody sat there and walked you through and gave you everything that you need to do, taught you everything you need to do to be a man so you won't be afraid to be a man. And it's the same with women. If other women came out and taught other women exactly what it takes to be a woman to the point where they're not being afraid to be a woman, they would actually see that there's a gift in being a woman that only comes with being a woman. And there's gifts at being a man that only comes with being a man.
Right.
And I think the only reason why people want to swap sides is because they don't even see the value in themselves. God knew what he was doing when he made you who you were. You see what I'm saying? And I think that's the issue. I think people don't know the amazingness that they are being built the way that they're built and designed the way that they're designed. I think that's the major issue, our pain, when you have some women who want to be men because they think that being a woman is not all that. And then they have some men who want to, be women and put the dress on because they think that being a man is not all that. And they think that being a woman is better. But I'll assure you, if you ask any woman, she would tell you being a woman is not easy. If you ask any man, he would tell you that being a man is a job nobody really wants to do if they really thought about what it takes to be a man.
Hey, let me ask you something on that set. Well, first of all, I had my own theory about guys who want to be effeminate or want to be not just gay or maybe even transgender. I think it's an escape from the rigors and responsibilities of being men.
Right.
But I really believe that. I think that's part of it. But let me ask you a little side question. I don't know if you're into any Star Wars like Andor and Rogue One.
Yeah, I watched Rogue One. I'm not really into Andor, but I might pick it up, man.
Well, let me tell you why I think it's. I love it. Right, I love those. Out of all the Star Wars stories, I love it. And you know how Disney messed up the MCU with all this female identity crap, right?
Right.
In Andor and Rogue One, I started to look at the female characters, right? They have some fantastically dutiful, strong female characters. And the way they wrote the stories is that they were able to play their parts without denigrating the men around them.
That's amazing.
I mean, that's what I picked up out. So I love Andor, man. I'm gonna have at least one Andor Rogue One marathon a year, both season 1 and 2. Season 2 Andor's. It might have been, if you haven't gone through 1, I thought it was great, but it's mixed. You got to get to it. But season 2, they got some great scenes in there, and even in season 1, there's some great scenes in there. But what I noticed about how some of the writers try to portray female characters when they're boss chicks, they always have some point in the show where they gotta rip the balls off of a man.
Yeah.
He's got to somehow, in order for them to raise themselves. Right. But in Andor, there's none of that. In Rogue One, there's none of that, right? Because Andor is, so this is a prequel to Rogue One. I think, to me, Rogue One is one of the greatest Star Wars stories ever. I love it. I don't know how many times I watched that damn show. I just watched it again yesterday.
Yeah.
But it's really good. But I was so happy to see the women in there because they were likable characters. They were strong. They died in duty. They did their duties. But the men who were in charge of some of the rebellion, they never had to get tore down to bring the women up.
Right.
And I said, man, if they could write like that for the MCU again, that would be great.
You know what? That's a bar right there, Arpain. Sometimes there's a lesson in every bar. And what you just said is a bar, man. Think about it. You don't have to tear your men down to bring your women up.
Absolutely not.
You don't have to tear your women down to bring your men up.
Absolutely.
That's the whole bar right there, man, Arpain.
Yeah. So, yeah, man. So, if you haven't gotten to it, man, I love this. I love it, man. I'm sitting down here and said, damn, this is really great stuff. And so, anyway.
Exactly. Well, I'm glad you brought that up, man, because I think this whole topic that Black Man brought up, where they were saying that women should be the leaders and take care of men, I think that's out of context. Sometimes pastors do stuff like that to get people to thinking or whatever, to spark conversation or whatever. But I think in its context, if it's not done properly, it could do more harm than good. You'll have some women on that they're trying this stuff against a man who wasn't sitting next to her in church and be like, where you get that from? You know what I'm saying? That ain't how we operate out here, That ain't how I was taught, That's why I would advocate, man, for men and women to go to church together so they can grow together. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Because what's the point of you having one person getting lessons from over here and another person getting lessons from over there, and y'all have to take a test, and the test is standardized, and both of y'all got the answers wrong, But if you go to the same school, right. You know what I'm saying, and y'all were sitting next to each other when they were giving the lessons, then you can look at each other and compare notes, and then you can come into an agreement.
Right.
I was saying, let's two come together unless they agree, right?
That's right.
So in other words, for you to agree, you got to have the same information in general at the same time. So that's why I always tell people, man, when you get married, do it as young as possible. So that means you can actually make mistakes together, and you can appreciate the other person because they've been through the exact same struggles you've been through. But for this point, they were struggling for you, Mm-hmm. And that is different. Think about it, Arpain. It's different when somebody was struggling for themselves because they act different. But if that person was struggling for you, then that's something that's different. Because I think there's no problem when men want to lay down their lives for their wives, and then women can appreciate that because they've seen that man do that thing just for her and not for anybody else. And that in turn makes her feel special. And I think most people want to feel that way.
I mean, it's also, all that's true. And it's also another way of saying the ultimate sacrifice is one way of saying it. But also the other way of saying it is it's nothing like a man who wants to be alive for his family.
Right.
Make sure, I want to do all I can to make sure, I look back on my own life. I don't think I'm anything special, but I'm just thinking how I got here from 1987, being married to my wife and 2 kids and all the shit, that's all the changes. You know, it wasn't easy, but you know how they say everybody has a cross to bear, and if you carry it long enough, you don't even know it's there.
Right.
You know, because it was yours to do. Right. I don't know whether it was just because I told Father, you know what, don't worry about her. I got her. Right. I'm still living that pledge. Right. So I don't know. So and I'm not a unicorn. There's a lot of men still married, you know, who you know, BMU, what, he got like 15 years or something like that.
Something like that, man. Yeah, he's been married a while.
20 years. So people have a lot of, you know, Ferg has 10 for a second marriage. But, you know, there's still people getting married today who 25, 30 years from now will still be married. Right? You know, because even if you look at the numbers, just you know, so it's not like I'm a unicorn. But it's funny when on these YouTube streets, it seems that way because there's not too many old guys spending their time.
They're out enjoying their spouse. You know, like you don't really hear from a lot of the women who are happy. It's because they're out enjoying their lives and enjoying their spouses. What we do is what's known as a labor of love. You know, we spend time away from our loved ones to come on here and to give a little bit of wisdom and a little bit of encouragement.
Yeah, it's true. It's so funny though, because that's just all my time is mine. You know, my wife, this doesn't take away from anything that we have planned. When we have stuff planned, we do it. So it's like, you know, when you don't have a job, man, I got, you know, 24/7 is mine. Really hours, right? So that's weird. So I, you know, they say if you're not working a job, you got to have something to do.
Absolutely.
And I can't just sit here and stew, you know. So I mean, I got the gym over there. I'm getting back in there. You know, just that one look at that Anton shit I put out there. Yes, I got to get on the next 80, man. I got to get on the next 80.
Right.
But still, yeah, you know, so like I said, man, this thing has been good for me in terms of retrospect. And that's why I haven't really been forcing my way to try to get monetized and all that stuff. And maybe one day I'll get serious about it, go to my channel and try to do the right thing so I can get, you know, some more views and all that stuff. Right now, I'm just still having it like a hobby.
Right. I'm going to teach you how to make your own AI babies too, man. Believe it or not, R-Pain, out of all the AI babies I made, yours was the one that was the most popular. You know that?
Yeah, I saw it, man. Yeah, it was cool, man. It's cool. But how many people even know it's me? That's just maybe it's just that baby.
They heard your voice, man. They know R-Pain. They know that's R-Pain. They saw your chair. They saw your curtains back there. That ain't nobody but R-Pain, you know?
That was cool, man. So I saw your channel, man. You gonna start doing some more stuff on there?
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah. It's about that time. See, here's the thing. I was working on a series on Thursday, Between the Lines, here on Black Men Unfiltered Network. Okay. And we're talking about survival versus success when it comes to marriage. And basically what it comes down to, are you married for love or are you married for lifestyle? So I'm doing my third conclusion, the conclusion of that series. And after that, I got another series that I'm cooking up and I'm working on this about feminism and how it's turning women into lovers of themselves. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to show y'all exactly where that came from too. So y'all tune in for that one next week once we conclude this lifestyle. Right. I think a lot of times people today have been getting married for lifestyle instead of to perfect each other. And I think that's an issue, man. But we'll get into that on Thursday.
All right. Yeah, man. You ready, man? I don't know if Ekane's coming back.
Man. He's enjoying this. But Ekane, I know.
No, I'm listening to you guys. I'm listening to you guys. Yeah,
we want to add something before we get out of it because you know we got a strict 2-hour cutoff now since Black Man been cutting these clips up.
Go ahead. You got some last words, Ekane?
You got something to eat, something to add before we get up out of here, man?
We just heard you. Where'd you go?
I don't know where you went. That's why you got to turn that camera on. At least we can see what's going on. R-Pain, did you want to add anything before we get up out of here, man?
That was good. I mean, listen, it was good to see this guy, to know that the F stuff is still going on.
Right.
And I'm not surprised by people saying the pastors, they've, I wonder if he really believes what he's saying. So let me just get it straight. That his wife is T.D. Jakes' daughter.
Yes.
Okay. And the church is hers, but they're both pastors.
I guess.
Okay. Yeah. But I mean, listen. I mean, he was pandering to the women. The coffers were full that day, you know. Right. And but the fact is that he probably lives that kind of life with his wife. Where he shares leadership with her. I don't know if they have kids, but if they do. And when you share leadership with women, that all that sounds to me is that you're deferring to her more than you should. Right? Because because every time you say something, she's gonna have something to say back, as opposed to saying yes, dear. You know what I'm saying? And every so often, that's all you want to hear. Especially if they trust you, right? If they trust you, So if you're in these bang down conversations all the time with your wife about which way to go, it's bad. It's just bad. Anyway, that's all I have to say, man.
I'm gonna wrap this up, man. Here's the thing, women. I want you to pay attention. I want you to hear me and hear me good. When you have these men pandering to you, I want you to think to yourself: is your life better now that you feel better about your pandering? Did your life get better when he told you something that was soothing to you? Most of the time when they tell you, man, when you go to the gym, they say, well, our pain, no gain.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're not growing, if you hadn't, cost you something, and nothing in life is for free. People can talk to you to the blue in the face and tell you how wonderful you are. But if it doesn't cause you to be the best version of yourself, then they're actually wasting your time. They really don't think much about you because they feel like they can lie to your face. We have a lot of people out here who lie to your face. And a lot of people give money to these characters because they tell them what they want to hear. So I tell women all the time, put your money where your mouth is. If you want to see more content like we have tonight, support the stream. If you want to see more content where these guys pander to you and you get nothing out of it, spend your money over there. You know what I mean? If you don't want to get better, take your money over there. You know what I'm saying? Because all they're going to do is they're going to take their wife out to eat while you struggle to keep your lights on. So my whole thing is this. We're trying to get you a husband, somebody who can believe in you. But I don't think they want to because they're busy picking your pockets, telling you what you want to hear. So with that being said, I want to thank you guys for coming out. Listen, when you guys get an opportunity, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, and if you're new, share it, because that's what we're here to do. Because I think there's a lot of content that's outside that'll speak to, the negative portion, the controlling and the rebellion portion of ourselves, because that makes fantastic TV. But usually when we want to talk to the protection and submission side of men and women, that's hard. You know what I mean? It's really hard because it takes work. But I'll assure you, you get around enough people who know what they're doing, enough people who are willing to share that message that they have, who will make your life better and to make your family tree blossom, the way it should. And that way, when you get to heaven, when the God says, well done, thy good and faithful servant, you can look God in the eye and say, look, God, I ain't trying to cheat you. You know what I mean? There's going to be a lot of people at the gates trying to trick God when they just don't know he can see everything. And he's seen everything. So I want to say thank you guys for coming out. Thank you. Make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe. And tell a friend, man, to invite a friend every now and then on Tuesday, man, because we have some good conversations. And I really do appreciate you guys. Once again, thank you for coming out to Flipping Tables on Black Men That Filter Network. Thank you and good evening and good night.